Yes, sir. Today, my name is Andiswa Buthelezi, a student in your Transport Geometric Design course, where we study how to do horizontal, vertical alignments, capturing data for traffic, estimating traffic, um, designing roads, taking into consideration the current and the future. We had an assignment to do this semester that involved us making use or utilizing geometric design software, such as Civil Designer, Civil 3D, or Open Roads, to think through, design, and give and propose a dual carriage, four-lane rural road. So today I'm just going to be presenting on my process that I use in determining my geometric design. I just like to share my screen. Um, yes. Okay, just wanna go into the reports just to go through the steps that I had to go through in order to get to my final design deliverables. So the scenario that I was presented with, I found a road in Limpopo that had to go by the rehabilitation and redesign and redevelopment resurfacing of its road alignment. The route was already determined, but there was definitely work that had to be done on the horizontal alignment to make sure that everything made sense and that it abided by the rules of the TRH 17 manual. So here we have our overall key layout that shows my three sections. I split up the drawings that I was going to give into three sections. You have your inset one, inset two, and your inset three. You have all your slopes and you have your surface loaded in. Here's your inset one with all my profiles. This is profile for the road on the left-hand side, profile on the road on the right-hand side, inset three and inset four. All these attachments are definitely found in my reports. So I'm going to be going through the process that it took for me to go through my geometric design. So I did everything on Civil 3D. So Civil 3D utilizes AutoCAD. So it makes use of AutoCAD. It's built on top of AutoCAD. So at the end of the day, dealing with lines and shapes. So I started my design by creating lines, loading in I loaded in my image, my geolocated image with the correct coordination. So I think we're using UTM 8434S for this one. After loading in my image, I then marked out my routes and gave it a horizontal alignment on my route. This is just to show where the road is going to be taking place. Um, Once I had that determined, I was able then to start working on turning the line into a real world simulation of what the digital represents. So Civil 3D works with alignments, then you make profiles. With the profiles, you adjust your VAs. Once you have your vertical alignment, you make sure that you put super elevation on your horizontal alignment, or otherwise it won't work. Once you do that, you build your assembly according to the design of your cross section. You assign your assembly to your alignments, and then you build that corridor utilizing those steps. So this just basically goes to show exactly how I did it. Um, sorry, I'm having technical issues here, but yes. So here is my line. I select my line. I determine my routes. I turn my line into an alignment with my Civil 3D. All these screenshots are found in my reports. From here, I created the alignments using those lines. So I selected the lines. I picked my rules for like minimum radiuses. Everything is according to the design that I had. Once I selected the rules for the line, it transforms the line into an actual alignment. Once the line turns into an alignment, I then assign H2 rules, things like K value, how it's going to behave, its design speed, so that it can give me errors if it thinks that I'm not going to be able to achieve my minimum radiuses, or my design speed that I have specified. Once I've assigned these rules onto this um, alignment, I'll select alignment. It'll give me contextual tools. I'll have the contextual tools, and then I will create my surface profile from this. I create my surface profile by clicking on the create surface profile button. I add my NGL. Once this window is up, add my NGL into the profile. I create the profile, then I have my profile. Once I have my profile, I can select my profile and then press a button known as Profile Creation Tools. This is going to allow me to be able to create my VA. I just want to note that before you do this, you should fix your horizontal alignment and make sure that it has an elevation, a super elevation assigned to it. Otherwise, it won't work when you're trying to create the corridor because the corridor does a cut and fill, and in order to do that properly, it needs to take into consideration super elevation. Once I do this with my profile, I give it rules the same way I gave it rules for the horizontal alignments, the minimums, and here we're using S2 2018. So I assign it that. It's going to take into consideration K values and minimum radiuses. Once I've done that, I start building my profile, and it's just like tracing a line on my NGL. The methodology is just to I'm trying to balance cut and fill. So I'm trying to keep it as close to the NGL so that when I'm building my corridor, it's not digging in too much into the surface. I'm just tracing into the NGL so that when I'm building my corridor, I'm able to make further easier adjustments. Once that's created, um, I can then create my corridor. The nice thing about Civil 3D is that they give you pre-existed loaded tools for assemblies. So here I can just select my assembly that we have right here and then give it the right settings. So I decided to build two separate alignments for my two separate roads and then build my stormwater drainage in the center and then tie everything in with brake lines. So I'm adjusting my surface. I do work as a modeler, so this is work that I'm very familiar with. So I adjusted this using the properties tab. Once it's properly adjusted, I then go into my create a corridor um, button. I assign an alignment, I assign a profile, and I assign the assembly that I just adjusted and corrected. I also do this, I also put my target surface. Once all these things are done, I can click on my alignment. Um, I think here I was showing steps into getting the super elevation right because I think the way that I did it in the incorrect order. As soon as I realized that I wasn't able to create my corridor, I had to then create my super elevation. So then I created my super elevation. Once I created my super elevation, I was then able to create my corridor. But I had to rethink it. Did I want to create one with the dual corridor or two separate alignments? I ended up going with the one. I then make sure that my horizontal alignment is good. I continue with the rules that I was saying above. I build my corridor, as you can see, with the green lines. That's the break lines between the road corridor and the surface. It does overlap a bit, so it creates more information than it's supposed to. So now I need to create a boundary around it just so it knows that it's giving the exact amount of information. I select create surface boundary, and then it corrects itself and it makes everything nice. Um, I then extract my cut and fill data by clicking on my analyze tool. And here you red represents cuts, green represents fill. It should be balanced 50-50, but it's always according to your design. Here you have your design drawings. And yeah, that is my presentation. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate that. Thank you.